Ahead of Game Week 10, I've asked my FPL experts for their top picks for Game Week 10 and also one player that they all might be selling in the upcoming game weeks. So let's go and dive into it. Let's take a look at the players. Now, before we dive into today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for helping the channel hit 10,000 subscribers. We had that goal. It's been in my mind for such a long time. We've finally been able to do it. So thank you very much for everybody that, has subscribed to the channel, obviously, been supportive, watched the videos, liked the videos, whatever. Now, of course, we are on that next big goal. That's the way these things go. We're going to try and hit 15,000 by the end of the season. And again, if you are new around here, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. But thank you very much for helping me hit this historic milestone for myself and everything. So thank you very much, guys. Like I said, massively appreciated by me. Right, let's dive into the players. Enough emotional stuff from me. First up, of course, I do feel this man is probably going to be fairly self-explanatory. It is going to be Ryan Aït-Nouri. The only problem I do have with him, and I did raise it with a few of the experts, was of course the fact that he is on 4 yellow cards, if you didn't know. So if he goes on to pick up another one, he will be suspended for one of these games. That's the way it works. If you pick up 5, I think it's before Christmas. I think it resets around game week 19, game week 20. You then will, of course, get a 1-game suspension. So if you are bringing him in and you are going to be playing him most weeks and relying on him because maybe you've got injuries to other players or other players might not have fixtures that are suitable where you want to play them, I would just bear that in mind if I am going to be looking to bring him in. I think he's a fantastic player to be going and bringing in this week, purely down to the fact that he is one of the best defenders in terms of expected goal involvement per 90. He's getting into the right positions. He looks really attacking as well. But, of course, it is that yellow card that we do have to be a little bit wary of. The fixtures are absolutely immense. But, like I said, I would just be a little bit cautious. Maybe if you've not got that cover in terms of depth on your bench to obviously replace him when he inevitably does go and pick up another yellow card, do just bear that one in mind if you are planning on potentially bringing in Ryan Aït-Nouri. But other than that, I do think he is a very solid pickup this week. Let's move on. Let's take a look at the Manchester United players. Now, you might be thinking, Tom, what the hell is going through your mind? Well, actually, they've got some good fixtures coming up post-Chelsea, and some of my experts pointed out, especially with the sacking of Erik ten Hag, there is going to be that new manager bounce. We see it all the time. It's spoken about in the media, and I definitely think after the Chelsea game, there is that real possibility. They'll have an international break as well post-Leicester game to work on a lot of stuff. So they've got Leicester, Ipswich, and then Everton as well in game week 13. So after the Chelsea game, it is a really nice run, and I do feel maybe for the people that are potentially wildcarding or looking to maybe delay a wildcard or just pick up a couple few fun picks over the next few weeks, Manchester United players definitely could be on your radar during this period. Now, my experts, should I say, have highlighted 2 players that are obviously, the key men, I would say, for Manchester United. Garnacho, for me, probably could be a great budget enabler, but nobody actually said him. They actually went for Dalot and Bruno Fernandes. So I was extremely close to bringing in Dalot myself this week, and when he missed that big chance, I was so glad I didn't bring him in. Obviously, United have had their defensive problems yet again this season. They are still lingering around the bottom end of the table for XG conceded, and it is probably going to take quite a lot of defensive work to get that unit sorted out and obviously have them as a more cohesive defensive unit, and that's probably what I'm going to wait to see if they start to move their way up. Obviously, the XG conceded chart, that is probably where I would start to look at some of their defensive assets. However, I do feel like Dalot could be a great replacement for the people that maybe went for Ped Porro. Obviously, Spurs still struggling for a clean sheet, or maybe looking to downgrade a Robertson, for example, with some more difficult fixtures on the horizon for Liverpool coming up, and of course him being a little bit of a rotation risk as well. So I don't think Dalot's a bad pick. Bruno Fernandes, I mean, the people that went for him from the start, if you've still got him, fair play. I don't think I could have kept with him, to be honest. The data is looking pretty tasty. Again, had so many chances in that West Ham game. If I was a United fan, I'd have been super frustrated. The amounts of big chances this side had was an absolute joke. And as we can see, Bruno's stats are actually pretty decent, and I do feel maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe they kind of lost a little bit of respect for Eric and maybe down tools a little bit towards the end. Bruno, though, on his day can be an absolutely fantastic FPL asset. We have seen that in the past. He is very, very capable of going and getting double-digit hauls. For me personally, I want to see who the new manager is for number one. It does look like it's going to be the guy from Sporting Lisbon, which would be a great appointment. Really attacking football. Obviously, I think he'll bring a more cohesive defensive unit to the side as well. So I do think United assets could potentially be a gamble from game week 11 all the way up until game week 13. So fair play to my experts for potentially spotting a little bit of a short-term trend that you might potentially want to jump on if you are looking for a little bit of fun across those opening game weeks. Let's move on. Let's take a look at Erling Haaland. Now, this is a big topic, isn't it, at the moment? I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it, and again, a few people asked me to include a player to sell. So, of course, we are going to do that. And Erling Haaland's fixtures for the next 5, as you can see down the bottom, are not an easy set of fixtures. Obviously, the goals have dried up, and we always knew that was going to happen. He wasn't going to be, obviously, sustaining the levels that he did at the start of the season. Even Mohamed Salah has obviously reduced to kind of, a goal a game. And, there's been some blanks along the way as well, very similar to Erling Haaland. But for me, when you are paying the big bucks, 15.4 million, you need that asset to be delivering most game weeks. And right now, that is not the case. And looking at those fixtures, you're looking at them going, are they going to continue? Like those attacking outputs? Like Bournemouth, I think, have actually had a pretty good start to the season. They've looked quite shrewd defensively as well. Brighton, they're a little bit of I would say, a special case for to be honest, because defensively, there seems to be a lot of problems at Brighton still. Lewis Dunk looks to be out to 3 to 4 weeks as well, so that is their main leader, their main captain. So that potentially could open the door for, the floodgates in terms of goals conceded. Then it's Tottenham, Liverpool, and Nottingham Forest. Now, I think the Tottenham game, maybe could be gone at that point, and again, we might have a new manager bounce at that point. It seems like he's losing his head a little bit. But again, Tottenham defensively, they're conceding goals every single week, so it wouldn't shock me to see Haaland scoring that one. Liverpool have been very, very good defensively so far this season. One of the best sides for XG conceded, very similar to Forest as well. So those latter two really starting to stink it up. And when we've got players like Bukayo Saka back from injury with decent fixtures around 12, Cole Palmer delivering consistently week in, week out, again, good fixtures around game week 12, and Mohamed Salah, the next 3 are actually pretty decent for Mohamed Salah. 2 home fixtures, plus then a plum fixture against Southampton. A lot of people are potentially looking at going with a 3 premium in midfield. Some have even suggested a 4 premium midfield, maybe trying to squeeze a Foden or a Son into that mix as well. And that is definitely something that you are capable of doing if you do go without Erling Haaland. That's something I attempted to do at the start of the season. I could see if Haaland wasn't performing to the levels every single week, there's definitely ways to utilise your budget better. And of course, go without him. That's the plan I tried. Unfortunately, it didn't work because Haaland decided he wanted to get back-to-back hat-tricks. But again, is that going to happen across this period of games? Maybe not. Maybe it could, though, because it is Erling Haaland. It is Manchester City. They will start to get players back from injury. Obviously, KDB, I imagine, post-international break as well, when they go into those games with Brighton, Tottenham, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, probably will be back on the menu as well. Foden will have had more game time and I think will start to establish himself as well as a potential player that could influence that Manchester City side as well. And I actually think Matheus Nunes has started to really come into his own on that left-hand side with the injuries to Doku and Grealish as well. And has actually become a really, really good provider on that left-hand side for the big man as well. So potentially you could sell him off during this period. It's going to take a lot for me to go there again. I think because I have been burnt, but I shouldn't let that put me off going potentially without Erling Haaland again. I think we're going to have to wait and see for me what the next 2 fixtures look like. I do believe game week 12 is probably going to be your exit point for Erling Haaland. Obviously, though, the plan has to be always a way to find a way to get back into him. So you can't spread the funds out too much. And if you are planning on potentially re-bringing him back into the side, make sure, of course, you have got the money and the transfers available to do that. But sometimes it's easier said than done. But if you are thinking about potentially replacing him, don't worry. The experts have got another player potentially you could take a look at. It is Nicholas Jackson. Another goal for him at the weekend. The next 2 fixtures, patchy to say the least. I think the United fixture would have been a decent one, but obviously Eric being sacked, I think there will be a little bit of an uplift in performance. Arsenal at home home's not going to be an easy game, but then the run after that, game week 12 and beyond, 2 bottom feeder clubs in Southampton and Leicester. Aston Villa at home as well. I think they'll still do quite well in that one. And Nicholas Jackson has been leading that front line exceptionally well. Has started the season brilliantly, 6 goals, 3 assists, so pretty much averaging an attacking return every single game. The data this season as well is still looking pretty decent, but it's not to the same levels it was last year where there was so much XG, but not really too many goals. It seems like he's got his shooting boots on this season and has become a lot more of a clinical finisher. And that is exactly what we want to see. And obviously with Haaland leaving your side, you could look to potentially go and bring this man in again around that game week 12 period, straight in for Leicester away. What a succulent fixture that could be. It allows you to go and get Saka and again probably build some transfers up over the next few weeks. Then obviously, like I said, have a plan. How do I get back to Erling Haaland? But when he's not delivering at 15.4, we do have to look at alternative ways to play the game. Let me know what you think of that in the comments section. But let's move on. Let's of course take a look at our kind of list of forwards that we're slowly accumulating more and more on this list at the moment, because cheap forwards seem to be the way to go at the moment. There's so many good ones in the game. Obviously, a few of these were recommended by my experts. I've kind of added a few on myself as well because I want this to be a real cohesive list. Have so many kind of players in here as well that, you know, people potentially are looking at for upcoming game weeks as well. Let's start off with the players I'm going to recommend probably avoiding. Probably for the next 2, it's going to be any Brighton forward, so that rules out Danny Welbeck. Liverpool and Manchester City, not for me. Game week 12 and beyond is where the good fixtures do pick up for Brighton, so if you are looking at any of their players, that is probably going to be the price point and the kind of jump on point, I would say, to obviously go and pick up a Danny Welbeck and Evan Ferguson. A Ruter as well as a midfield option as well could also be a decent one. Liam Delap and Ipswich bench this week. Ipswich again, not really an overly attacking team I want to put my kind of investment in. Liam Delap's numbers as well, as you can see on here, the worst expected goal involvement per 90. I do expect the goals to dry up, and with those game week 11 and 12 fixtures looking pretty difficult, again, probably going to be a player I am going to be avoiding. Same goes with Jamie Vardy. I think if you've got him, hold him for this week. Ipswich away, great fixture. Post that, it is probably going to be a very easy sell for Jamie Vardy, with the likes of course, Jimenez having decent fixtures, Cunha hopping straight into the Southampton fixture as well. That probably is going to be a jump on point for him as well. So again, probably going to be another player I would be avoiding, but a few experts obviously have recommended them. We've had quite a bit of discord as well around obviously Delap and his potential ability as well with a few of the people in the comment section, so I did want to keep him in here and obviously address it. Let's first off start off with the Wolves boys, because to this game week 10 is a fantastic hop on point to jump onto their players. Cunha for me, of course, is going to be the better player to go and get. I know Strand Larsen has had a pretty decent start to the season, but as we can see here, much better projected points, much better expected goal involvement per 90, and the potential of penalties and assist threat. All of that for me does equate a better million spent. So for me, I would be going for Cunha over Strand Larsen. Chris Wood has obviously been nailing goals in very consistently. Forest fixtures do start to turn around game week 12, I would say. So maybe at that point, it could be the end of Chris Wood. So again, probably not a player I would be invested in. I think the hype has already gone. It's probably time to look towards the newer players like Acuna, you know, maybe a Visser over the next few weeks rather than targeting a Wood. I think his time has gone. If you got the points, great. If not, it's probably not the right time for me to be jumping onto him. Obviously, we mentioned him very briefly there, but Johan Visser is a cracking player. The best expected goal involvement per 90 on this list as well. Now, I know he has played less minutes than everybody else on this list, but to be still putting up those numbers is astronomical. And you could just see there was an uplift in Brentford's attack this weekend. He is so good, and I'm extremely delighted that I managed to bring him in this week. I think a lot of people will be looking to jump on the Visser bandwagon as well. Calvert-Lewin, man, oh my god, this guy, I don't think he's a buy. I genuinely don't think he's a buy. He just misses too many big chances. His expected goal involvement is through the roof. If I've got him, I'm holding him for the Southampton game. Surely this guy has to score against Southampton. He's had the second most big chances missed in the Premier League. Surely he has to score in this game. Please, Dominic, please get a goal against Southampton, just for me. But yeah, if I had Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm holding him for this game. If he blanks again, he is gone. A straight swap for either Strand Larsen or Cunha. Look at, again, you're going up against Southampton or Visser as well with Bournemouth at home, so that's probably going to be the switch points there. Then the final two, I feel, are probably your more differential forwards. Jimenez has definitely come back in the fold in terms of goals and in terms of overall confidence as well. So again, another player I would be very, very high on looking at. His expecting goal involvement per 90 as well is pretty decent. Muniz out for a couple months as well. Some decent fixtures for Fulham over the next 4 could be a nice differential forward to go for. And then I wanted to put Evan Nielsen in here. 3 goal involvement so far this season. The data's not terrible. Obviously, the only downside to him is he's got pretty sparse minutes, and of course, he has been taken off penalties. But interestingly, Bournemouth's fixtures around game week 11 really pick up, like massively. There's a big swing in terms of their fixtures over the next few weeks. So again, a club that I would be looking to kind of get some assets in for, whether that is an attacker, whether that is a defender as well. Definitely a club I think we need to start paying a little bit of attention to. They've started the season exceptionally well, yet again, not in terms of just expected goal involvement, but of course XG conceded as well. So again, probably want to keep an eye on this week, see how they get on against Manchester City, maybe see how the Brentford game goes as well. But for me, definitely a player I would be kind of keeping my eyes on. Semenyo as well also falls into that bracket as potential players to keep our eyes on for game week 11. That was my transfer targets. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments section. Of course, if you've got any players that you potentially feel the experts missed this week, let me know in the comments section below. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 10.